Hey everyone, it's Lumen, and today I'll be presenting my clear of the Drizzle title challenge using Misaki and the new pair from the bridal event. So I always wanted to try this because Misaki looked really good for Drizzle. The leader skill just fits really nicely, but the sub selection was a little bit tough, and oftentimes you'd be missing one thing or another. Now, in this particular dungeon, it's not even that bad, but I just wanted to use this bridal event duel, and Misaki seemed like the perfect engine to work with. So, without further ado, here is my Misaki title clear. So, why did I pick Misaki for this dungeon? The first thing is that this dungeon is a Yang protection, aka like a sun dungeon, right? And Misaki has a lot of sun awakenings, so it's just a natural fit for the dungeon, right? The other thing about this Drizzle title clear is, or clear, but Drizzle title dungeon is Mis- that it has a super altitude of 1/18th recovery, which is incredibly severe. Like, if you don't have any way to deal with that, you probably just die. So, gotta figure that out, right? Misaki has 3x recovery on her leader skill, which may not be enough by itself to deal with 1/18th recovery, but with 2 Misaki, then it multiplies to 9 times recovery. And that is definitely enough with a little extra help, whereas like other leads, you'll be like really struggling to reach that mark. So yeah, definitely, I don't know, definitely a very well suited lead for this dungeon. As for leader skill wise is a great fit, and then her awakenings also work really well, right? Misaki is a 3-turn orb generation system, so you need 3 copies normally, right? However, Misaki is interesting in that her additional effect is a uncap, a team-wide uncap, and a Fujin. But those actually last for 2 turns, right? So 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. What this means is that technically speaking, you only need 2 Misaki, and then the third part of this orb generation system can be anything that just makes light, dark, and heal. Or it doesn't even have to be light, dark, and heal, but given the damage profile, you do really want it to be light, dark, and heal, right? Which is great because I don't have a second Misaki. Like, I'm using one and I have a friend helping me out, right? So yeah, that 2-turn duration opens up a lot of, not a lot of flexibility, but a decent amount of flexibility, which really helps, right? And in this case, the third option for my orb generation system, the one that fills it in, I picked New Year's Metatron and Metatron, or New Year metas as I call them. New Year metas is really nice because the duo not only has the right orb generation profile for the team, but it also has multiple sun awakenings. It has the god type needed for Misaki's team-wide uncap, which we'll get into a bit later. And then it also has a full cleric on it, which is really helpful. I'm not gonna use New Year metas as my primary cleric, but just having an extra one makes life so much easier. So yeah, really great fit, right? I think the big thing about it is that it opens the flexibility up, right? New Year Metatron was exchangeable, but Misaki was like a 1% or 1.5 or 2% chase and like a terrible machine. So really nice in my opinion. Now, going back to Misaki, we talked about I'll get into it after I go over the rest of the team actually, because there are some issues with Misaki that make, I assume it's her, but it might be a him, but make Misaki like kind of a annoying fit in terms of team building. Like, it makes it frustrating to work with because of certain typings is what it really is. But let's get into the rest of the team first. Now, I said I was excited to use the bridal event tool, and I think it's a really good fit because Misaki provides Fujin, right, or provides damage absorb void. And the thing about this dungeon is that it is really heavy on like just sustain and tanking everything. And the Bridal Event duo. So on one hand you have Dorna and Varroa, and on the other hand you have Scarlet, right? Now, each of them loops a certain void. So Dorna and Varroa loop Color Void, or Color Absorb Void, and Scarlet loops the Void Pierce. Now, interestingly, they are both on 6-turn cooldown, but they also have an additional shield component where they shield for 45% damage reduction over 3 turns. Seems kind of awkward at first glance when you look at them separately, but then when you look at them together, they just fit like a glove, because now if you pop them every 3 turns, you'll have that shield up for all time, basically, right? I like it a lot because, let's say, this alternating shield thing not only is really effective, right? 45% damage reduction is fantastic, but it also feels great because, well, 45%, or sorry, now, I'm losing it. It also feels great because you use a shield active every 3 turns. So if you get hit by like a buff dispel, which there are none in this dungeon, which is really nice, but if you do get hit by one, well, it only takes maximum 2 turns to get it back up, right? Because let's say you get dispelled on the turn the shield is up, then you don't have to wait. If you use the shield 1 turn before, then you get dispelled, and then you only have to wait 2 turns. So it's actually really nice. And then not only that, but Scarlet also has double shield break, which is incredibly convenient. I believe Misaki also has shield break, so yeah, Misaki's fantastic. But overall, great team. I love it. And this Dorna and Scarlet fit like a glove. They provide extra recovery as well, because I did say, 180th super altitude, you need extra recovery. Dorna and Varroa provide some extra recovery, right? Scarlet has the L's that fit Misaki's playstyle perfectly, and then they also bring a plethora of resists. Like Scarlet has like Jammer, Cloud, Tape, Innate resist, and then Dorna and Varroa have Blind. Like, it's just an extremely fantastic profile, and while the Jammer might not be necessary, everything else is like super nice. So overall, just a great fit in this team. Really covers a lot that the team needs, and so I mean, I'm excited, So the last sub here is my Cleric, and after much consideration, I chose base Zerclea. Now, it's interesting because Ordeal Zerclea is like a beast in this dungeon. Not only does the dragon have like a ton of recovery, humongous stats due to double sun awakening, a fantastic active. I mean, it's just, I don't know, Ordeal Zerclea is just phenomenal for this dungeon, but it doesn't fit into my team because I'm using this Bride duo. And the thing with the Bride duo is that, well, they already provide a shield. So then the shield overlaps, and if I lose my shield loop, that would be really annoying. It makes the Cleric timing really annoying as well, right? So instead, I wanted to pick a Cleric that also had an HP buff, right? In hindsight, though, I didn't really need it, and I would say if you're like kind of trying to build this team, it'd be better to use like a Cleric that, yeah, Cleric with the time buff, or Cleric with like an attack buff or something like that. That's what I would probably use, because you don't really need the HP buff, because the shield from the dual Bride units, it's like really good already. So not needed at all. But nonetheless, that was what I chose. And I had an 891 copy around, so it worked out kind of nice. The stats are really good, so that's something to say. This is how I constructed my team. Also, in hindsight, I probably could have gotten away with using the Metatrons as my Cleric, but that would require a lot more active management for sure. So, yeah. Okay, so as for Misaki, I said there were a couple problems. One of the biggest problems with this team construction, and it's not actually that big of a deal, but it does make team building a little more difficult, is that Misaki has a lot of type conditional things, and it's really annoying sometimes because some of the units like you want to pick out just don't fit the profile, right? So for example, okay, so I didn't even mention this, but if you look at Misaki's leader skill, she's just, I call it, I swear, like, I have no idea what the gender is. I'm just gonna call it she, and if I'm wrong, whatever, man. Like, but Misaki is a L-based lead, right? Now, unlike Shizuru, which is like a very similar lead, Misaki is 6x5, like you don't have to do 7x6, but L-based lead, so you gotta match an L and everything works. However, there's an interesting component there where the 3x recovery part of the leader skill is not tied to matching L, but it's just an innate 3x recovery multiplier for dragon types, right? Now, that means that for all the recovery sticks on my team, like New Year Metatrons and Dorno and Varol, I really do need to have that dragon typing on them to make them, actually recover, right? Because if I lose 9 times recovery, like, I, I'm not recovering for Jack, or. So, need that dragon typing. But Misaki's active skill requires a god type to enable the team-wide 17.5 billion damage on cap. So really the perfect profile is Dragon God, right? Because that activates both the innate recovery multiplier and also enables you to use the team-wide uncap. There's not a lot of Dragon Gods. Like, Misaki is very, very specific, right? Misaki, like, in terms of, I'm sure you can find some, but in terms of like modern, usable cards, there's not actually a lot. And so, I want to use something like New Year Metatron and Metatron. I say it's a perfect fit, but in reality, it doesn't have a dragon typing. So then I'm just sitting on my hands like, okay, what do I do? It's like I gotta figure something out. Zerclea doesn't have a god typing, right? So the god typing I think is more important because like you do need to have like the damage, right? So no matter what, everybody's gotta have god typing for the damage. The recovery, in my opinion, is more skippable because you can just focus the recovery on like the heal sticks with a lot of heal OE, and then they'll just heal a lot for your team, and the rest don't have to pick up that slack. So when I constructed this team, I had to think about the equips quite a bit to make sure everything fit, right? One nice thing is that because the bridal units, like they have so many resists, I didn't have to fit that in. So my main goal was just shove in more stats, make sure I have the effective skill boost needed to make it work, and the other thing is make sure I have levitates for the units that don't have them to make sure they do enough damage. Right now, a lot of them, they look kind of nice, they have like 4, 10C, whatever, but honestly, in today's super gravity, like that doesn't really cut it if you don't have levitate on top as well, right? So in terms of my units, like, so the checklist here, New Year Metatron needs to have dragon type add because the duo is one of my main recovery sticks. So the equip I chose, Felt's equip, the dragon insignia. Yep, this equip looks fantastic actually. Has team HP, has skill boost, has an SDR. Like, it just, when I looked this up, I was like, holy, this is a perfect fit. So I'm surprised I couldn't remember it, but I might not be the smartest guy here. So yeah. Okay. As for Zerclea's Eclipse, this one I know by heart. I needed God typing, and one thing that I was concerned about was OE, because late endgame dungeons, they all have minus OE. They have, it's a frustrating mechanic to deal with. So all the teams I want to build, I try to fit in as many OE as possible. So the equip I chose for this guy was the Vanishing Equip from Academy Cronus. This guy is a beast because not only does it grant God type and then vanishes, so that means when I get assist voided, I don't actually lose any damage, right? Because the god typing stays no matter what. But it also grants the rainbow OE or all OE awakening, and it grants the all stats awakening, or the thing that gives 1.5x stats. I mean, I just think it's fantastic because Zerclea has the damage profile, right? It has the Sun Awakening, it has Levitate, it has 4 10C, so it's actually like really, really good in terms of damage. But then, I have the Super Awakening set to all stats, and then I add even more stats with another all stats awakening. So when Academy rolled around, I was like looking at it, and I rolled a bit because I thought that equip would be good, and it felt really, really nice to use on this team. As for Dorno and Varro, I needed, so that duo, those two were very specific. I needed a levitate dragon type change equip, and there weren't many of those out there, but luckily there's a farmable, I call it farmable, but it's a 1 million MP exchange, uh, Bartender Riku. I don't even know if it's Bartender, I think it is, but Bartender Riku or the Chalice Riku, I mean, it's just a great fit. It even has a part break for extra stats. There was another equip, I think it was like a Hisui equip from Gung Ho, that I thought looked really good too, because it provided a full set of double OE, but I didn't have it, so, you know, I just used Riku instead. Now, Scarlet was also incredibly specific. Scarlet doesn't have Dragon or God. Dorna and Vero were very lucky they had God type at least, but Scarlet and Vero don't have either typing, so I chose to go for the God typing because Dragon typing, I don't need the recovery on a unit without that much recovery, right? So I ended up, I need a God type. I want to attribute change, a sub attribute change, because that red ping is not going to do anything unless I convert it. So I need either light or dark sub attribute change. I need a God typing thing, a God type add, and then I look at the damage. I need levitate as well. Like, I don't think Scarlet's gonna do enough damage without levitate. Lo and behold, I look it up. There's nothing for dark, I think, but for light, there's this Digimon equip called Digi-Egg of Hope. I don't know which one. There's a lot of like light ones. I know it's. I don't think it's. I don't think it's Magnamon, but it's one of the light units. That equip is just crazy. I mean, it has 3 skill boosts as well. Really, really helps out the team, and it has everything I need. So, like, I mean, it just works out perfectly. I will say when I do get assist voided, like I lose some of the damage, but I mean, it just works really, really well. So I just use it. So now we have the Misakis for the assists, and the Misakis are the most flexible because they don't need any type add or attribute change or whatever, because they, I mean, you know, if you have all these conditions, like at least the lead itself must fit those conditions, right? So Misaki doesn't need anything. On one, I simply put Halloween Paimon. I mean, still just a classic equip, right? Just insanely good. On the other, I put another Cronus equip, Academy Cronus equip. I mean, I don't know, like OE and all stats, like Misaki has levitate, so I don't really need that. And while 210C is like a little bit annoying, it, like, because it's 4 L's and 210C, it puts a lot of the damage on making the L's. So in the later parts of the dungeon, I gotta make more L's, but you know, the all stats, like, just tremendous number of stats, right? On top of 2 suns. So overall, I went for that. It definitely took a little bit of thinking to get that equip vanished and activated, but once I got it running, like, it felt, I mean, it felt really, really nice. So yeah, overall, that's my team, and then this is my clear. I had some problems because, like, I think I ran into was her name Chloe or something like that? It was like one of the artists, and man, I got completely cooked. Like, I could not make combos to save my life. And overall, like, with the team, like, it's really good for Sun. Or sorry, not for Sun. It's really good for this Drizzle title. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's actually insane. But the problem is that, like, it is really good, but making else is like kind of frustrating. And the thing about this team is that you also have to make all heal TPA every time you actually want to recover. Like, in the earlier stages of the dungeon, yeah, you can just make like random hearts, like, it's fine, you'll recover enough. But in the later parts, you're getting slammed really, really hard. You don't have enough recovery, you are just done for. Yeah. And you know, that's the other thing I want to talk about, the dungeon itself. One thing about this Drizzle title dungeon is that it's definitely a bit of a shift from like older dungeons, right? I haven't been really paying attention to older dungeons like Crimson and Netherline. I should, but I didn't really care. To be honest, I'm only doing this title challenge because I wanted to use Misaki, right? But one thing I will say about the Drizzle title is that it is less so about damage. It is less so about, you know, having like the burst heal, or sorry, not the burst heal, burst shield or burst HP to like tank and rage hits. This dungeon is just a grinder. It just slams you with massive hits every single turn, and the biggest thing is, can you survive and, you know, endure through this gauntlet while having effectively no recovery because there's a 1/18th super altitude, right? The super gravity is less so, you know, and then like this team like has a 17.5 billion team-wide uncap, which is like good, but it's not actually that good. Like, I'll tell you right now, if the uncap was just a little bit higher, I could like one-shot a couple floors that I required a two-shot on, right? So really, Misaki is just a great fit because the dungeon itself, like I believe the highest hit is around 22 million, a little bit more give or take. And basically all this dungeon wants from the team is, do you have enough HP to constantly weather 20 plus million hits, right? 20 million plus hits. And then do you have the recovery to sustain yourself through those hits? This team does. And while it is a little bit annoying to match an L and heal TPA, it's really not that hard. I just suck and I'm lazy and I'm not really thinking. Also, like I'm playing pad when I'm eating or something, or like I'm like chilling. It's like I'm not actually like sweating to try and, you know, make sure I do perfect stuff, whatever, right? Um, so yeah, those are super big for sure. I will say a couple other really big points about this team is that it doesn't really have anything to do with like move time debuffs or attack debuffs or something like that. Part of the reason why I brought Zerclair was because the last tile challenge I did was Gale Cloud, and that one gave me insane PTSD with Bay 2. So like, yeah, I wasn't dealing with that. Like, actually, I don't even know why I said that because I only brought HP modifier. I guess you also needed one for B2, but that guy also needed attack buff, so I don't even know what to talk about, you know. So yeah, this team could use a little bit more, but for this dungeon, it works perfectly fine. I think one of the biggest things as well for me is that Scarlet having that double shield break is really nice, especially because the floor before Azathoth, lol, but Azathoth or Azathoth, like he gives you like it has like a 5-turn counter or something. Now once you drop him below 50%, it will like speed up the turn and like it will combine you and do all these nasty things. But you can like kind of stall and manipulate your actives. And so what I did was I manipulate the loop so that when I get into the boss that has a triple shield, I just pop Scarlet on that turn, I pop Misaki, and all 3 shields are gone. That felt insanely good and it was definitely a great time save. So yeah, something to think about. But with that, that's my team. That, and here's my Drizzle title dungeon clear. I mean, definitely, you know, definitely a lot of pressure on the stats. Definitely a lot of. I mean, like a lot of teams will struggle to clear this, right? Obviously, you have the Reinhardts and the Utsuros that just steamroll everything, but you know, the super altitude and the constant damage will be definitely tough. So make sure you have your shield loops unlocked. Make sure your recovery is good, and I think, you know, this dungeon should be, you know, a challenge, but a doable challenge. I don't like, to be honest, like I look at title challenges nowadays. Obviously, like I don't really understand because I have like a lot of things, right? Like I can play whatever team I want. Like I have Utsuro in the back, I have Reinhardt in the back. Like I don't need to run Misaki, you know. Um, and so like I look at these title challenges throughout history. I'm just looking at like, man, this title challenge is kind of bad, but it ain't that bad, right? Like the title challenge I always have PTSD from is the Stardra title challenge, the one where Shore 3 debuted. That was terrible. It was, oh man, like this dungeon, I'm sure you could run at least 5, like off the top of my head. I'm thinking Misaki, of course, you have Reinhardt, you have Utsuro, you have what's its face, Freerin, right? You could probably run Made Ideal in this dungeon, right? Like off the top of my head, you have 5 teams. When Stardra title challenge came around, there was 1 team, and that team was Nautilus. And I will say it forever and ever, that was the most like if you, it was so bad that all the teams were like, let's say, because Nautilus was a brand spanking new GFE, if you did not have Nautilus, you paired with it and then you ran like Durand or like Freya or like something super copium. Like it was so bad. Like I would, oh my lord, like, you know, put the fries in the bag, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, um anyway, I don't know. I'm just looking back through history. This title challenge ain't that bad, but like, you know, just make sure you have the right team for it. Make sure you know what you're getting into, and you know, everything will be a-okay. I hope this run helps you out. I hope, I don't think anyone really enjoys it. But you know, if you like Misaki or watching other teams, like I hope you enjoy that too. And with that, I will call it here. If you have any comments or questions, just let me know. I'm really bad at responding to those. I'm really bad at uploading videos, but I'll try at least. I'll catch you guys next time. As always, good luck and have fun.